In a country with over 300 million people, only 1% choose to serve in the United States military. The media plays a large role in persuading civilians with unrealistic expectations of what really happens on the inside. Since the military is considered a total institution, only those who have served truly know what it is like. Since our military is completely voluntary, the media can also encourage others to join or turn them off from the idea. For this documentary, we decided to go out and interview civilians in the general public who have not served and ask them what their expectations are of this institution. We then interviewed current military participants to get an inside look of what actually happens and their opinion about the military once in. We start off asking just a couple basic questions to understand a little bit more about who we are interviewing.
It is a U.S. citizen's duty to serve their country at some point in their life.
Yes.
Not really?
In some way, doesn't necessarily have to be the military.
Awesome. These are some loaded questions.
What is your definition of serving the country?
Like military service. The enlist in the military. Do you think everybody should have the enlist?
That's a loaded question.
I think it kind of depends on like the values of the individual, and that varies from person to person vastly.
So not everyone, just kind of if you think you should.
It's like your own discretion. Yeah, I can't tell someone else they have to do that just because it's whatever I believe.
So you like the volunteer system? Awesome.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes. I definitely like that better than forcing everyone. I think it should be a choice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it would have an overall better impact for the entire country if everyone serves at least 2 years. You don't have to, of course, it'd be just a regular contract. Okay, you don't have to serve in reserves or anything. Just everyone contributes and does their part. Would it seem like it'd be kind of a communist mindset? In a way. However, there would be more, in my opinion, there would be more unity amongst the people because everyone's done their share. Everyone's contributed. Instead of just being, okay, this 1% or this however many percent decided to volunteer. I mean, granted, it also opens up a doors to say, okay, well, this person's not exactly military ready or military material. That's why you have a screening process. Say, okay, you're not eligible, but you are.
All right. So personally, no, it's not every citizen's job because some people are more supporters than they are actually doing it. So it's better for them to not actually serve.
So even though that there are support jobs, like being a cook or being in S1 or whatever, you don't think that people can't serve in that capacity?
I mean, they could, but some people can't make it through the initial basic training.
Right.
I've kind of had mixed emotions. When I first came in the military, I strongly felt that I think everyone should have gotten out of high school and served 2 or 3 years. That was my initial take on that. After being in the military for 15 years, not everybody's cut out for this. But that's not to go without saying that it does instill discipline, esprit de corps, and pride in you. I would recommend it for anyone that isn't sure of what they want to do. Either go to college or go to the military, one of the two. I feel like that should be your only 2 options when you get out of high school. And I think if we did that as a society, sent people to either get an education or to serve their country, I think we'd be a little bit better off.
There are other countries throughout the world, such as Israel, who require mandatory service from reaching a certain age. But it is a popular opinion of many Americans to keep military service voluntary. There was a national poll consisting of over 3 million people, and 77% were in favor of not having mandatory military service. We then wanted to see if there was a similar agreement among military participants when it comes to mandatory service. Here is what they said.
Right. Do you believe we should still require men to enlist when they turn 18? And should this be equal for women?
Do we already?
Women? No. They have to sign up, but they aren't drafted. But should we require them to?
Oh, for women to be the same?
Yeah.
No.
It should be equal. I'm kind of up and down on what age. I think as needed. But I think we both have to do our part in some way.
I think it's good to have a catalog of all the men that are over 18.
it should be equal pay in school and this.
Okay.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other about this. I don't think people should be forced to serve if they don't want to, but I don't think enlisting is necessarily a terrible thing for men or women because it kind of keeps extra documents on people. Yeah.
Yes.
That includes women as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's pretty much forcing someone to do something that they wouldn't really want to do.
The biggest argument for spending too much on our defense budget is that we spend the same amount of money on our military as the next 10 highest countries combined. On the other end, the argument for spending too little is that our military is depleted or weak. There was a poll taken from almost 1,000 people across all 50 states from different demographics. The results said that 34% of the population say we spend too much, while 32% say we spend too little, while the remaining 34% say we spend the right amount. Depending on what news sources you watched, you can get a biased answer that may persuade the general public. We then asked the military men what they think about the U.S. military budget, and here were their answers.
Okay. Do you think the U.S. spends too much money on our defense budget? Why or why not?
That I don't know. I hope they do.
I hear these horrible stories of how things they buy get overpriced, but overall, I know we don't need as big a military as we used to because we're more efficient, have different ways of doing it. So, bad answer, but best I can.
Awesome.
I would say, yeah, I really don't have a reason.
Okay.
Can I play defense on this one?
Same.
Personally, I want to say yes and no. It's just that you have research and funding, and there's different budgets for different parts of the military. Like the Air Force, they're going to have different budgets because jet fuel is expensive as hell. Army, well, you've seen the barracks that we've lived in before, so it is what it is.
Right.
So, different roles, different budget.
You can't really ever spend too much money on the defense budget because we're always at war with other countries that we never know what they really have prepared for us.
I would say I don't have an answer. I just don't have enough knowledge on the budget and what they spend it on.
There is no clear evidence showing a direct correlation between video games and participation, but it is a fact that the military strives to influence teens using video games and movies. The military also uses some of these different technologies to train recruits because chances are they've already familiar with the technology by the time they enlist. We then wanted to ask the people who are serving if they feel like video games are influencing.
All right. Do you think kids growing up playing these popular war games such as Black Ops will have an effect on them wanting to participate more?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes, I think it will encourage them to participate more, but it also encourages violence in general.
Not really, because I play it, I don't know how to go.
All right.
Well, you have to know what we put in is what comes out. So I feel, as a parent, I would certainly not want young children, and I would be cautious of what that, and how much time.
It might have a minor effect, in my opinion, because, growing up in the era when video games definitely evolved the platform from GoldenEye to, oh, hey, this is Call of Duty now.
Right.
Different, playing Search and Destroy, trying to find the bomb, disarm it, blow it up. It's all sorts of different stuff. All that stuff, it gives a perception of, okay, you could do this, but that's all like Special Forces or Rangers type stuff.
Personally, it did for me because I grew up with you playing it and all that good stuff, seeing it. And then when I got here, it's completely different, though. You can't really do half that shit. Oh, my bad. You can't really do half that stuff.
I don't think my son personally has been affected by it or been swayed to make that decision. However, there are some kids out there that grow up. We didn't grow up playing those video games. They came out a lot later, and we were basically playing cowboys and Indians and playing soldiers with little toys. And those were the kind of things that kind of piqued our interests. So nowadays, looking at these kids playing these games, I think kids are growing up a lot faster than we did. But I don't think that the video games themselves are having anybody running to their local recruiting office.
Some of the two biggest misconceptions about boot camp and basic training that civilians have are 1, that the drill instructors want to humiliate and defeat recruits, and 2, that the process is designed for the recruits to fail. But in reality, the Department of Defense has a watchful eye on boot camp attrition rate. From the moment a potential recruit walks into the recruiting office, a great deal of money is invested in seeing them through the process to become a member of the armed forces. The recruit's success is the military success. One of the most recent statistics available from the DoD in 2008 says that the Army's attrition rate was 11%, the Navy's 12%, Air Force was 10%, and the Marine Corps was 10%. Almost 90% of recruits complete boot camp. When we asked some people who have gone through training, this is what they had to say about their experiences.
Okay, and then lastly, what do you think happens during basic training?
Oh man, just hell.
Yeah.
Like putting some kids through hell, like waking them up early, like just kind of throwing their regular pattern off and like getting them, just able to adapt to anything.
They break people down. I know they get them into physical shape, but I think mentally they kind of like break people down a little bit, teach them to be subservient.
Pardon my French, a hell of a lot of hard work.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Just very briefly.
Basic training is the separation of the civilian from the pretty much breaking down a person's civilian mindset and teaching them how to be a soldier, how to move tactically, how to use their weapon, how to properly fire a weapon, military movement, tactics, and discipline. Because you can have all that training without discipline, just encompass everything. You have nothing.
All right, so pretty much in my basic training, we did a lot of physical conditioning, more like push-ups, running, carrying rucksacks that weigh 35 pounds. Pretty much a lot of training to get me prepared for the job that I was supposed to do in the Army.